So chapter 26, verse 24. We will be covering both verse 24 and verse 25. Verse 24 is abandoning without exception all desires born of selfish will, restraining with the mind of all the senses on every side. Verse 25 states, let him gain little by little tranquillity by means of reason controlled by steadiness and having fixed the mind on the self. Let him not think of anything else. Sri Krishna shows us here how to perform dhyan or meditation. When you are practicing yoga with determination and with heart undismayed, then you should completely abandon without exception all desires born of selfish will and restrain with the mind all the senses on every side. Then by practicing yoga slowly and slowly, after making efforts, he begins to become calm, and then by controlling the intellect with patience and fixing the mind on the Supreme Soul, he does not think of anything else apart from the Supreme Soul. Such a person has no other thoughts apart from those of the Supreme Soul. This is how to perform meditation. The scriptures have shown us different steps of performing meditation. Sri Krishna says here that intellect should be controlled by patience, because when a person reaches certain stages in meditation, then he begins to get scared. He has restrained with the mind all the senses on every side, and therefore he has the fear that he has stopped the senses, but will they ever work again? If someone has stopped the senses of the eyes by making his mind fixed on the Supreme Soul, then he cannot see anything apart from the Supreme Soul. It is a very straightforward thing. The eyes only look where the mind goes. If the eyes get a vision but the mind is not there, then someone may tell you, are you not looking? And you will say, I was looking, for my mind was somewhere else, and therefore I did not see. If one's mind is completely fixed on the Supreme Soul, then he sees the material world, yet he does not really see it. It is with the same with each of the senses. If one's mind is completely fixed on the Supreme Being, then he hears words, and yet he does not hear them. At that point, he has the fear whether his senses will ever work again. Secondly, he fears the mind. As one advances in dhyan or meditation, then all the thoughts start calming down, and one thinks about whether his mind has really calmed down, and whether his mind will be able to think again. One fears this. All these different feelings come at different times. Sometimes people feel very heavy. This is a stage in meditation. At that point, one needs patience and steadiness as described by Sri Krishna in the 25th verse. A person has many different experiences. Patience is needed. Sometimes after performing meditation, a person feels so light that he thinks he's about to fly. He has the fear of what is about to happen. At that point in time, patience is needed. Guruji is giving us one assurance with a promise from Yaspit, a place where a saint sits to give discourses and sitting on which he cannot lie, that nobody has ever died in history while performing meditation. People may have died without performing meditation, but no one has died while performing meditation. When one reaches this stage, then he feels like this. He fears the consequences. At that point, he needs to control his intellect with patience. What are the steps of making the mind steady on the Supreme Soul? First of all, as said by Sri Krishna in these verses, and as Guruji will show in the meditation exercise, as soon as the mind goes outside thinking about external objects, then immediately bring it back to the Supreme Soul. You become your own security guard. Observe your mind. Keep observing your mind. You will not know at the beginning, because the mind will go somewhere you have not even imagined, and you will think that you have completely gone out of meditation. Bring it back to the Supreme Soul. Make it steady again. If it goes out, then bring it back in again. This is the first step. You have to do this over and over again. you will have to do it perpetually. And you will have to do it with determination and with heart undismayed, as described by Sri Krishna in the 23rd verse of this chapter. This is because the mind enjoys hanging around outside. If you let the mind go uncontrolled on external objects, then the mind will have no worries. But if you hold on to the mind and bring it back to the Supreme Soul, this is the first step. Secondly, wherever the mind goes, worship and see the Supreme Soul there. If you are sitting in your house and your mind goes to the garden, then see and worship God in the flowers in the garden. Think about how beautiful the flowers are and that the Supreme Soul has created them. Whatever the mind thinks about, then worship and see the Supreme Soul there. If you see a beautiful face, then worship and see the Supreme Soul as a creator of that face. Think that if that person's face is so beautiful, then how beautiful must the face of Him who created that person be? Therefore, first of all, you should stop the mind from going outside and bring it back to the Supreme Soul. And second, wherever the mind goes outside, then see and worship the Supreme Soul there. This is the second way. Associate whatever your mind goes to with the Supreme Soul in some way or the other. If you keep practicing, then you will find the way yourself. If your mind goes to food, then it does not matter. Associate that food with God, and therefore eat the nicest foods after offering them to God. This is the reason behind this. If your mind is running outside, then connect what it is running to with the Supreme Soul and take it as prasad. If you do this, then the thought of conceiving that object goes and feelings come. Whenever the mind goes outside, then connect it with the Supreme Soul. If you do this, then you will be able to perform dhyan or meditation. Third, when we sit down to perform meditation of God, then that is when we remember the material world most of all. This is everyone's experience. When one plays cards at the club, then he does not remember the material world so much. When a person is at a wedding reception, meeting everyone and saying, "Nice to meet you and how are you?" then that person does not remember the material world so much. But as soon as someone at 6 o'clock in the morning has a bath, gets dressed and sits down to hold a mara in his hand, then all the maya or the illusions of the world gather together at that time. Why does this happen? Let us try to understand why this happens. First of all, take the feeling out of your mind that this is wrong. It is not wrong. Do not think that it is impure, that this is useless, and that you cannot perform meditation because of this. Take all of these thoughts out of your mind. Then what should you do when these thoughts of the material world come? When you are performing meditation and all this dirt and rubbish from the material world is going out, then just consider that it is dirt and rubbish going out. Just like when you take homeopathic medicine, then at the beginning your reaction increases. You get so much itchiness after taking a little medicine, then you go to the homeopathic doctor telling him your whole body is itching. You ask the homeopathic doctor what is happening, because after the medicine, after taking it for 3 to 5 days, you're having all this itching. The doctor will tell you not to worry, because it is coming out and that it is erupting. Then in reality, the medicine heals the illness in the end. At that point, you need to have patience. Therefore, when you start performing meditation, all of this dirt and rubbish will come out, firstly, because you're cleaning up. The second reason why it all comes out is that the material world does not come outside if you are living in the material world. This is because at the time all the dirt and rubbish has been collected. When we are moving in the material world, then what happens is that the dirt and rubbish keeps getting collected. Then how can we get rid of this? You can only get rid of it when you stop throwing this dirt and rubbish into ourselves. When we sit in front of the Supreme Soul, then we stop collecting this dirt and rubbish. And when we stop collecting this dirt and rubbish, then the dirt and rubbish that we have collected gets exposed. This is because when we sit in front of God and perform meditation, then we go very far for the material world. You are with yourself. That is why all this dirt and rubbish starts to come out. Guruji explains this further with another simple example. Let us say we wish to scratch ourselves because we have an itch. When we are talking to someone or busy with something, then we do not get this itch. But as soon as we become free, then we immediately start getting this itch. This is what happens, naturally. Everyone knows that scratching the skin is wrong, but until we round in the material world, then our skin did not feel itchy. But when we are left alone, then our skin starts getting itchy. When we are living in the material world, then we did not get any itching of Maya or the illusion. But when we sit in front of God, then we stop using the senses and the mind becomes a bit silent. And that is when the itching starts happening. Do not think that this is impure or that this is a negative sign. Just consider that all the dirt and rubbish being thrown outside, and that is why it is appearing. How can we become free from all these thoughts of the material world? The fourth method says that the main reason why we get difficulties when we think about God is that the person on the journey of yoga or the person performing the penances considers himself as a part of the material world. He thinks that he is in the material world and that he has to go to God. See, this is our normal tendency of thinking that we belong to this world and that we have to go to God. The scriptures say that the first thing you should do is understand that this is not the case. This is a habitualized way of thinking. Determine in your mind that you're not part of the material world and that you are part of the Supreme Soul. Therefore, the first thing you need to do is to cut the knot of this wrong way of thinking. This is because we only get thoughts of that to whom we belong to. Make a decision. As long as you associate yourself with the material world, then even without effort, thoughts of the material world will come to you. And we have to make efforts to attain that which we are not. If we think that we are not God, then we have to make efforts to attain God. Therefore, determine in your mind that you're not of the material world. You are of God. Then thoughts about God will automatically come to you, and that you will actually have to make efforts to drown into the material world. This is the experience of people who have practiced this. You will immediately remember God's name. When you see someone, then you think about where you saw that person before. This is because you are the Supreme Soul, but you are not the material world. That is why you have to put in efforts in the material world. A person forgets a lot about the material world. Over and over again, keep telling your mind that you are of God and that God is yours. Keep telling your mind that you are not of the material world and the material world is not yours. In reality, the material world can never be ours. It is the wrong attitude that we are of the material world and the material world is ours. We keep saying mine, 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 and gathering things that they in reality are mine. A great soul was giving this message, and a youth said to him, "You are saying this, but do you know how many people are mine and how many feelings I have towards them? I am my parents' only son, I am my wife's only husband, etc. I have so many feelings for these people. I have my children, and they all love me very much. I am very important to all of them. They are all ready to even die for me." The great soul told him, "Forget about this. This is completely wrong. Do you want to see and experience this for yourself? Do you need proof of this?" The youth told the great soul to show him. The great soul told him to have some herbs that would make his body weak and give him an illness for a while. He told him that his health will not get worse, but just his body temperature will rise. There are such herbs. At school, the Guruji apparently had a friend who showed what he did on the days when he had not done his homework. What he did was slice an onion and put it in his armpits. Don't do this at home, by the way. He said that if one puts a sliced onion in his armpits, the body temperature will rise. Only Sri Ram will know if this is true or not. Try it and you will see. My friend would put the sliced onion in his armpit 30 minutes before school was about to start. Then he would tell his mother that he was feeling very ill. His mother would check his forehead and see that his body heat had actually gone up. His mother would tell him to go to bed and wrap himself up. After half an hour goes, then he would pick up another sliced onion from his armpits and throw it away, because school had now started and it did not matter to him. There are such herbs. This great soul gave this youth the herb. The youth's temperature increased and he got ill. The doctor was called, and the doctor carried out all sorts of different tests but could not find anything wrong. The doctor could not diagnose him because all the reports were coming out as normal. How could the doctor know that this person had got an illness after eating the herb? Who could ever imagine this? Therefore the doctor said that there was nothing he could do, and this person's temperature had shot up to a very high level. His parents and wife started worrying about what they should do. 5 or 6 days went, and in the end they called the great soul. The great soul was in the town, and someone had told the family that he was a great soul and that he has given a lot of knowledgeable discourses. The family thought that this person's illness may be healed with the grace of the great soul. The great soul came to the house, and the family asked him to help them find a way out of this. The parents said that he was the only son and that the house depended on him. They said that if something happened to him, then his young wife would become a widow at a very young age, and that his children are very young. The great soul said, "There is only one solution. I have a mantra. If I chant that mantra while holding a small pot of water over this boy, then one of you will have to drink this water. Whoever drinks this water will get the boy's illness, and the boy will get up having been cured. I'm able to do this. Tell me who will drink the water." Nobody was ready to drink the water. First of all, the person's wife was asked whether she would drink it because she had a lot of love for him and had promised to love him forever. The wife said she did not mind about doing this because everyone has to go, and but she said that she couldn't do it because her children were young. If we wish to philosophize about such things, then we're very good at it. The wife said that everyone has to go, but we have these young children and they need a mother more than they need a father. There is a Gujarati saying, "Ma vagar ni dikri, jane matu futya ni tikri." A daughter without a mother is like a broken pot that you have to fix. And it is true. The wife would cover her face with the sari and start looking towards her mother-in-law as if she were asking whether she wanted to drink it. The mother of the person said that her son was very dear to her, but asked the saint if there was any other solution. The saint said there was no other solution. The mother said that if she drank the water, then there would be no one to look after her husband, because he is only being looked after while she is there. She said that if she went there, there would be nobody to look after him, given his very elderly nature. The great soul said, "Why don't you do this? Both you and your husband drink half of this pot each, and therefore you can both leave the world together." The father of the person thought about it a little and told the great soul, "Let us do this. Why don't you drink this pot of water? This is because there is nobody left for you and nobody to look after you. And don't worry, because after you go, I will create a big fund in your name. I will create a trust." The great soul told the youth, Look at these who regarded you as your own wife, your own parents, your own community, your friends, and your own people. Out of these, who was able to help you when it came to life and death? You must have these feelings, and this is certain. I'm not saying that you should not have these feelings, but deep down a person must know in his heart that I am not of the material world, and the material world is not mine. Fair enough, nobody was prepared to drink the water for that youth, but we can also look at it from the other way. If nobody was prepared to drink that water to remove that person's illness, then would he be prepared to drink water to remove someone else's illness? He would not. This is as true in this case. Therefore, this relation that you have with the material world is a show. It is a makeshift arrangement. You are not of the material world, and the material world is not yours. Then who are you? You are of the Supreme Soul. God is yours. Once the bond with the material world breaks, and a bond is made with God, then meditation happens naturally. First of all, a person must determine this in his own mind. Each of these methods are connected and are steps. The fifth step is that once a person determines that he is not of the material world and that the material world itself is not his, then when he sits down to perform meditation and he starts remembering everything, for example, that you are meeting with someone, that he has to meet someone, that he has to telephone someone, etc., then he should think about why he is remembering all of this. At the time of meditation, one should consider himself dead. When you sit in front of the Supreme Soul, as you are lying in your seat, just think that this is your funeral pyre. All you have to put at the side is a chapati and some laddus. Just determine in your mind that you're sitting down at your own funeral. At this point, just consider that you have gone. Now, which meeting do you have to go to? Who do you have to go and meet? Which phone call do you have to attend to? Is this not possible? Of course it is. Because at times our minds feel so heavy, because we have to do this and that, because we have to meet so-and-so, and because we have so many appointments. But if we actually go from this world in one go, then all of it will remain just like it is. The appointments will remain in your diary. Then why can you not do this every day for 15 minutes or half an hour? Why can't I practice death? One moment will come when we have to leave the world forever. So can you not do this for half an hour? You can do this. If a bomb falls, then what will you do? Will all your appointments remain as they were? During meditation, a person should come to this state. Until you feel in your mind that they have to perform a task, then you will not be able to do meditation. Therefore, you have to be disconnected from all of these things. And a person has to take an extreme step, as if he has died or as if a bomb has fallen. Only then will you be able to be free from all of these thoughts. Imagine that you have to escape from a burning house. How much do you like your house? You have a feeling of an attachment to each and everything in your house. But when that house has caught fire, then how can you have the same feelings? You cannot say that you want to go back and use the mirror in front of which you used to make your makeup every day. How can you get back and wear the same suit, the same shirt, the same sari, the same shawl? You will not have anything left. Therefore, what is the first step? You have to get out of the house first. We can see that the house is in flames. The scriptures say that the house of the material world is engulfed in flames, only that we cannot actually see the flames. This fire is the funeral pyre, can come at any time. This material world is engulfed in flames. When a person reaches this state, then the material world goes away by itself. This is necessary in order to sit down and calm one's thoughts. Sixth, after performing all the previous steps and considering that you're escaping from the burning house, that is the material world, then this will not mean that your thoughts will go away completely. You will still get your thoughts. They will reduce after performing the previous steps, but when you perform meditation and this selfish will and options come, then our scriptures show us a way. Say swaha, or even only ha out loud. You can say ha as soon as a thought comes to your mind. For example, if one is performing meditation and a thought comes to my mind that I have to phone Kachalal, and then I should say ha out loud, and the thought will go outside. One should say this out loud. If one does this, and the thought will go out to one's entire system. Swaha. You should start saying this out loud. It will help you a lot. Our scriptures show us the way. As soon as selfish will options come to our mind, then throw them out of your system. You can say swaha or only ha. Different thinkers and different people who've performed such penances give different methods. Some people say to say the word hu out loud. The root of these words is the ha, because it should be breathing out with force, and the ha has this strength. If you use other letters, then it may not work. It will not work. Hu, ha, swaha. With this force, whatever is in the mind will go out, and the mind will once again be fixed on God. The seventh step is to get these thoughts out, is that when you get a lot of thoughts, then blink your eyelids over and over again, and then close your eyes. Psychologically, what happens is that whenever we blink our eyelids on purpose over and over again, then the vision that is in front of the eyes gets cut off. You can try it now. If you make efforts now, then the vision in front of the eye will get cut off. And when the vision gets cut off, then the thought in your mind also gets cut off. Therefore, this selfish will and options that come to your mind will also get off. And once these get cut off, then your mind will once again be focused on God. If there are a lot of children and youths at your house, and they wish to concentrate on their studies, to make their thoughts concentrated or to read, then these last 2 steps or 3 steps will be very useful. If a child is sitting down to study, then if he does deep breathing for 5 to 7 minutes and then says hu out loud, then all the wrong thoughts will go out of his head. He should blink his eyelids for a few times and then keep his eyes closed for 1 or 2 moments. After this, when he starts studying, he will feel as if he has become free from all these thoughts. The 8th and last useful step is to breathe out 2 or 3 times with force from the nose. After breathing out 2 or 3 times, then with even greater force than those, he should breathe out from the nose as if he is breathing out all the air in his body. After doing this, he should hold his breath and not take in any new breaths for a moment. I.e., after doing that huge exhalation, then he should hold his breath for a moment. Then slowly and slowly he should begin breathing in. He should breathe in deeply and slowly, and then after doing this slowly and slowly, he should begin doing normal breathing. He should make his breath steady and back to normal. When he breathes out 2 or 3 times, then all his toxins and wrongs and thoughts go out. And then when he breathes out with a lot of force, the last time, then for a moment there is no air at all inside the body. The breath is prana, our life air, and therefore this air is our life. The meaning of this is, if we go and look at it subtly, is that when there is no air in the body, then during that moment we have died. The whole system comes to a standstill. And when you begin taking new breaths, then it is as if you have started a new life. There are situations in life where a person falls into a coma for 5 to 7 minutes. Here, medically, he is dead. And when he starts breathing again, in the same way, for a fraction of a second, we die. And when our breathing starts again, then we begin a new life. This is a very helpful exercise in order to be free from wrong thoughts, options, and selfish will. So, in summary, the 8 steps that we have showed to remove wrong thoughts, options, and selfish are the following. 1. When the mind starts thinking about these things on the outside, then hold it and make it steady on the Supreme Soul. 2. Whenever the mind goes, then see and worship the Supreme Being there. 3. When you are performing meditation of God, then this is when you get the most thoughts about the material world, and when your thoughts run the most. Do not think that something wrong is happening here. Just understand that all these toxins and illnesses are going outside. Just look at them as if you are a witness, because you have to try and become free from them. Number 4. A person must know clearly in his mind that he is not of the material world, and the material world is not his. He is God's, and God is his. When a person becomes free from his association from the world, and his association with the Supreme Soul becomes fixed, then meditation happens naturally. Number 5. A person performing meditation will feel like he has a lot of things left to do, and these will feel like a heavy burden on his mind. He has to take these out of his mind by thinking that the world has come to an end for the next 15 minutes or half an hour. And he does not lose out because of this. People say they have an urgent phone call to make, but nothing is lost at all. If the person was really important and really needed your help, then he will call a second time. Nothing remains in this state. Just be with yourself. Number 6, while performing meditation, when thoughts, options and selfish will come to your mind, then say out loud, swaha, ha or hu, and these thoughts, options or selfish will all will go out of your system. Number 7, when thoughts, options and selfish will come to your mind, then open and close your eyelids 5 to 7 times. This cuts the vision together with the thought you have at the time and makes your mind once again steady on the Supreme Soul. Number 8, exhale 3 times from your nose and then exhale out of your nose with great force as if you were exhaling all the air in your body. Then hold your breath for a moment, for 1 second or for as long as you can, and then begin breathing in slowly and deeply after that. It is very necessary to take these new breaths slowly and deeply. If you breathe out with great force and then breathe in quickly and immediately after that, then it will have no effect. You have to breathe in slowly and then slowly and slowly bring your breath back to normal. And that finishes our verse 25.